Mike Radich here, and I'm now joined on the phone by the founder and CEO of Championship Fighting Alliance, Jorge de Noval. George, how are you?
I'm very good, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Sure. Thanks for doing it. George, let's go back to the beginning. Before you became a promoter, how did you get interested in mixed martial arts?
Wow, you're taking me way back. I was actually very involved in karate my whole life since I was a little kid in Cuba. And then I came to the United States, and I kept myself training, and I was actually national champion in '96 and '97, international and national champion in karate in '96 and '97. I had my black belt in Yoshimun, and pretty much one day I went to one of the American top teams, actually an American top team in Coconut Creek, and I saw jiu-jitsu for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, I asked to spar one of the guys, and the guy taught me out about 6 or 7 times in less than a minute. I couldn't believe it, and I was just going at it again, and that we started training or sparring or grappling like around 9 o'clock in the morning. I ended up doing it we went all the way to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I started throwing up. I couldn't even move. And I couldn't believe it, man. I couldn't believe that what an athlete I was and how these guys were tapping me out in less than a minute. So I decided to start training. Then I started doing wrestling. All of a sudden I started doing wrestling, jiu-jitsu. The stand-up, my stand-up was pretty good. I had a little bit of background in boxing as well. And I decided to open my own American top team. So I opened my own academy, my own American top team with my partner back then, Conan Civeda. We did very good. It was actually the first American top team in Miami. And from there, it's just kind of like, what do I do from here? Mm-hmm. I actually did my first show. I had another company called MFA, and we did the first show. Actually, I did the first show in American Airlines Arena, which was a huge arena down here. It's one of the biggest arenas down here in Miami. Back in 2008, December 13, 2008, and I had Rico Rodriguez on a rematch with Jeff Johnson. I'm sorry, yeah. Jeff Munson. I'm sorry, Jeff
right,
Munson.
Jeff Munson, yeah.
And we had Bobby Lashley made his pro debut.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a pretty good show. To be honest with you, Mike, I didn't even know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of threw a lot of money out there, put a lot of stuff together, but I had no idea what I was doing. And then I went off most of the time. I got hooked, man. I got the virus, and now I love it, man. This is my passion. I don't see myself doing anything else. And we're gonna take CFA to the next level. That's my goal. Give younger guys an opportunity. We're actually signing a lot of talent to multi-fight deals down here in Florida and Broward. Actually, pretty much the whole Florida area. We're signing, very elite talent. And my goal is take this company as far as we can.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned your first company, MFA. Why did you decide to close down that company and start CFA?
I actually had issues. We had a couple of issues with. I brought in some 2 partners, and it's not the first time that happened. To be honest with you, people get everybody wants to play. Everybody likes to play or be on the front line, behind the cameras, and the whole nine. And it just didn't work out. It's just he wanted to go one way. I was, going this totally different way. I wasn't thinking of making a quick return on my money, on my investment. I was, I knew it was going to take time, and we split. So that's how we started CFA. Me and my partner Lázaro Fernandez, and man, we have a great relationship. CFA is definitely, we have a lot of shows lined up for next year. The first couple of shows, it was, getting it off the ground was a little tough. Now we're getting a really good audience, and it's picking up, man. The vibe out there is pretty good. The fighters are signing to exclusive deals with us, which that wasn't happening before. Now I guess they're seeing what we're seeing, that we're taking this to the next level, so they want to be part of it.
Mm-hmm. altogether, well, this is going to be your 9th show coming up on January 19th with CFA, but altogether, MFA, CFA combined, how many shows have you promoted?
Let me think about that 1 second. Hold on. I've done 16 shows altogether.
Mm-hmm. And just curious, when you started promoting, what was the thing that you thought was going to be the hardest and it turned out to be, very easy for you, and what was something that you thought that was going to be easy that turned out to be very hard?
I thought it was going to be easy, to be honest with you, to sell tickets and to get the people to go to the arenas and for the fans. Actually, I'm not going to even say fans because we didn't have fans back then. I would say friends and family would actually go and support the fighters. Their own family and their own friends, and it just doesn't happen for some reason. I mean, we still have fighters that are selling 10 or 12 tickets. Mm-hmm. It's that really kind of like threw me off, to be honest with you. When we were doing our business plan and we started seeing the real numbers, like, man, what is this? These kids don't have any support from their family. Mm-hmm. So that was hard, to be honest. I mean, that was something I thought it was going to be easy, and it turned out to be really hard. The other thing that I thought was going to be really hard, and actually turned out to be very easy, and we ended up opening our own company and the whole nine, is the production side of it. I thought the production side was, when it comes to video and music and the whole nine, was going to be very hard. And we actually ended up opening our own production company. We actually own our own promotion company now, so it hasn't been. That was something I thought it was going to be hard. It actually turned out to be very easy. Mm-hmm.
And now when you switched from MFA to CFA, how long were you in business before you had started promoting up again? Like, how long was it from when MFA stopped to CFA becoming a new organization?
Mike, it was a quick turnaround. I mean, this is what I want to do. This is what I love doing. It was a quick turnaround. My partner and I saw the opportunity, and we kind of like took off again. It's just getting the fighters and the fans to believe in the product once again. It took us about 2 or 3 shows. Now it's a different ballgame, man. It's a different ballgame, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm.
And could you go down a list of like bullet points of what is the most important things to you and your organization when you put on a show? Like number one, would be, I don't know, selling tickets or something like that. What are the bullet points for running your show? What are the most important things to you when you put on an event?
Mike, the most important thing for us is to put on great fights. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing for us. Put on great fights, have a great production, and put on a great show. I mean, we have fans now that are committed and they buy tickets in every event. So for us to put on great fights, the fans will come. Put on a great production, the fans will come because they want to be part of that. They want to be part of something big, and they want to see what we do. Every show we do something different, so they want to be part of it, and they want to walk in there not knowing what to expect and what are we bringing for that event, and who are the superstars that are going to be there signing autographs, and how are the ring girls are going to look, and how the lighting, what are we doing with lighting, what are we doing with sound, Then they look down at the fight card. We don't do easy fights. We don't. That's a slogan here in CFA. We don't put together easy fights. If you call CFA for an easy fight, you're gonna be talking to me, and I'm gonna tell you, listen, don't look for easy fights. There's no easy fights here. There's other smaller organizations out there putting guys with lower record. An 0-3 guy versus a 1-0. We don't do that. The records have to make sense. Fighters have to make, fights have to make sense, because at the end of the day, it has to be a win-win situation for everybody. It has to be a win situation for CFA, where we put on a great show and we put on a great fight. It has to be a win situation for the fighter, where you're fighting on a platform where the level of skill is very high, and it has to be a win situation for the promotion. For the fans, because they come in and they expect a good show. They expect to see 2 guys go in there and brawl and have the skill set to put on a great show. And that's basically those. I mean, tickets. To be honest with you, we don't focus on tickets that much. Mm-hmm. Although at the beginning, we will ask the fighters to have their family support. We don't ask for support anymore. We're beyond asking for support and having the fighters ask for support. The fans come to our show because we put on a great show. And if you don't come to our show, you're going to hear about it on the streets next week. and you missed out. You know, and that's basically how we look at it now. It's some things have changed. You know, we don't ask for support anymore. And I told all my fighters to do the same thing. Don't ask for support. If your friend doesn't come see your fight, then you know what? He's the one missing out, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And now on the flip side of things, what are some things that you never want to hear as a promoter? Is it something like with a fighter where they miss weight? Is it something like where you get a call, you know, at a random time of the day, hey, you know, I got to pull out, I got injured, I can't make this fight? Is it something where, you know, fans being not satisfied with the product? You know, what is some of the worst things that you can hear as a promoter?
Man, I hate, to be honest with you, Mike, what really throws me off is the not making weight. Mm-hmm. You know, that really pisses me off. I mean, you got to be a professional. Mm-hmm. I understand fighters are entertainers, and they have to have that too, but at the end of the day, this is what you do. You know, you got to show up. You got to show up to work. You got to get your shit together, and you got to make weight. That's the bottom line. You know, we started taking 50% of our purse. Now we take 30% of our purse. Because at the end of the day, it's not just them. You know, they have to make weight, because then if you don't make weight, the fight can drop. And then the other guy's it's not fair to the other guy's been training for 6-7 weeks to fight you, to have to go home, you know, and not fight. Because it's not just the money, it's not just the show money. The guy wanted to make the win bonus as well. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to fight. Not only that, then the fans, you know, you're kind of like getting the end of the stick as well, because, you know, they were paying, they bought the tickets and they wanted to see that fight, and it's just not happening either. So, I mean, it's a lot of things on the line when a fighter doesn't make weight, especially when it's over 2 pounds. When I see somebody over 2 or 3 pounds, it's very disrespectful to me, man, to be honest with you. I was an athlete myself, and it's really disrespectful, to be honest with you, because you can call the week before and try to make the fight a catch weight instead of just showing up there 10 pounds over. Mm-hmm. You know, we haven't had much of those, to be honest with you. Most of the guys that fought with us are very professional, but it did happen once. And the guy still calls me today to get him on a fight card, and it's just not going to happen. The guy came in 10 pounds over. Mm-hmm. They're very, very disrespectful, man.
Mm-hmm. The reason I brought up the missing weight part is one of the fights that you had, Luis Palomino fought James Warfield, and Warfield missed weight. That was supposed to be for a title. How disappointed were you for that whole situation? Because, you know, here's Palomino has a chance to capture another belt, and Warfield, in a way, robbed him of that opportunity.
To be honest with you, Mike, that situation was a little different. I felt really bad for Palomino, and I felt bad for the organization, because we wanted to have a champion, whether it was Warfield or Palomino at that point. But Warfield was having issues with the weight, with the weight for a long time, and he just wasn't cutting it. The weight wasn't coming off. Mm-hmm. Like I went through, I was behind the scene, and the whole him cutting weight and stuff like that. The weight was just not coming off. There was a point where he just stopped sweating, and I mean, man, to be honest with you, he didn't mean any wrong. Mm-hmm. He apologized to Palomino for not making the weight. My hat off to Warfield, man, to be honest with you. He's a gentleman. The guy's a gentleman. And it's just one of those things that that was one of those fights that it was really unfortunate for everybody. Mm-hmm.
Did you cut him a little bit of slack because he did step up on short notice? Because originally Palomino was supposed to fight Antonio McKee. McKee got hurt, and Warfield, stepped up and took the fight.
That's part of the whole deal. Yes, mm-hmm. Definitely. Because mm-hmm. McKee was on to last minute, and all of a sudden he got hurt, and I'm still waiting for that doctor's note.
Mm-hmm. There was also a rumor going out there that McKee was signed somewhere else, and that was another issue that he was having, that he had a fight close to when he was supposed to fight Palomino, and that restricted him from fighting for you.
How can I put this in I have no respect whatsoever for Antonio McKee. How's that?
Now, were you glad to see him lose to Aoki?
Of course.
And were you surprised in the way that the fight ended?
Man, to be honest with you, it's MMA. Mm-hmm. That's the fun about MMA. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Well, moving on. Back to some more positive stuff. CFA 9, Night of Champions coming up. Where did the whole idea come for having so many title fights on one card? Was this something that had been planned for a long time, or was it just the way timing and schedules and stuff like this just all came together and you decided to put it on one show?
Like everything we do here in CFA, you know, me and my partner, we sit down, we have a strategy, we have a business plan on everything, and we plan the whole year out. Mm-hmm. You know, what we did was, you know, we realized that we need champions. You know, we need guys defending their belts. We need guys to represent CFA. We need guys to go out there and take pride in the belt that they'll be holding on to. And you know, all the guys willing to come up and step up and take that belt from them. We need that. So what we're going to do is January 19th, we're going to have 4 belts on the line. March 2nd, we're going to start the girls tournament, which that's an exclusive I'm giving you right now. Mm-hmm. We're going to have eight girls fighting for fighting on a tournament. Obviously, the winner is going to take $20,000. It's going to be the champion of CFA at 145 pounds. And we're going to have 2 or 3 more belts on the line in March 2nd, and then 2 or 3 more belts, so we can have a champion in every division in April 20th. Mm-hmm. We need champions, man. It's all about the champion. It's all about the fighters, and it's all about the champions. I've always said that.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the tournament for the women in March. That's going to be a 145 because I heard a rumor that Taylor Stratford had signed with you guys.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. Yes, she signed to us.
Right.
It's at 145,
right.
Yes.
145. And that's going to be crowning the first champion. That's just not going to be a tournament belt. That is going to be for the title.
That's going to be for the title,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. And now back to CFA 9, which is coming up January 19th at the Bank United Center. Main event, Luis Firmino against Luis Palomino for the lightweight title. I've heard you say in many of your interviews that you believe that Luis Palomino is the best lightweight outside of the Zuffa umbrella, whether it be UFC, Strikeforce. He's fought a lot at 145, but at 155, that's where he gets his best results. Do you feel that that's his best weight class, 155?
He's definitely his best weight class is 155. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Mm-hmm. And hands down, man, to be honest with you, there's no one fighting like Palomino out there right now. The best 155er, even under the Zuffa umbrella, is Luis Palomino. That guy, I mean, he put on a show. He's a very athletic fighter. He's a very explosive fighter. And he can pretty much take the fight anywhere. I mean, like, we just put him right now versus Luis Buscapi. And, yeah, the guy has great elite jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. But how is he going to take Palomino down? I mean, that's what we kind of like, how is he going to take Palomino down? And even when he takes Palomino down, Palomino is still a black belt on the Daniel Valverde. So, man, and it's becoming very hard for us to fight him opponents. That's where we're at with Palomino right now. Palomino is at the top of his career right now, man. Mm-hmm. He's an elite 155er right now.
Mm-hmm. Luis Palomino, he's done great things under your organization. He knocked out Jay-Z Cavalcante, the only guy ever to knock out Jay-Z. No one had ever done anything like Palomino did to Jay-Z. He also knocked out Crazy Horse. He's one of 2 men ever to knock out Crazy Horse, Charles Bennett. Why do you think that he's better at 155? Do you think it's just that added size gives him a little bit more power at 155? Because he's fought at 145 and he hasn't done so well. Do you think that going down to 145 drains him too much, and 155 that's really where he shines because he has that power and he is not so drained?
Mike, before I answer that question, let me touch base on JC real quick. I have no idea what to expect from that fight. JC, I've been a big fan, personally, a big fan of JC, and I love that guy. That guy has a lot of respect for all the promoters out there. He's a classic act, man. The guy, he very respectful, and I wish him the best in his career. And I know he's going to do very well from here on. After his last win, he's going to start doing very well. So going back to Palomino and the power, I'm totally against, man, to be honest with you, and it's just not Palomino. I'm totally against fighters that every time they lose a fight, they want to fix it by going back to a drawing board and saying, you know what, I'm going to drop to a lower weight class. Mm-hmm. That's not the way to do it. Why don't you go, instead of dropping to a lower weight class, but you have to, one of the biggest fights you're going to have first of all, getting ready for the fight is cutting the weight. Why don't you just go to the gym and bulk up a little bit? And that's exactly what Palomino did. Palomino, the weight cut was too hard for him at 145. He started going to the gym, bulking up a little bit, and now he's a monster. Like, I see Palomino, he came to the photo you the day before yesterday, and I saw him like, man, now I see you actually look like a big 155er, because he was always a very small 55er.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he's ready, man, and I'm completely against cutting weight. Cutting weight is not the answer to the fights. You know, so and most of the fighters think that, and most of the trainers think that. You know, that dieting and cutting weight and dropping to a lower weight class is the answer to this game, and it's not. It's just the whole, you know, there's a lot more to it. It's all science right now.
Mm-hmm. And another fight that I'm really looking forward to, the flyweight title fight between Alexis Villa and Joshua Sampo. Now, Sampo, I don't really know too much about him. Does he have any ties to Florida? Because what I do know about him, he's not a Florida guy. Why have you decided to bring him in? Because you have really done well with the local flavor. Why did you decide to bring Sampo in?
This is the thing. Alexis is a personal friend. Alexis Villa, I've known Alexis, and we've trained together, 10 years ago. So Alexis is a personal friend. When Alexis was fighting at 125, I don't see anybody beating or even coming close to defeating Alexis Villa at 125, to be honest with you.
Right.
Now, he had to step up to 35, and he was ranked number 1 in the world at one point. Number 1 or number 2 in the world at flyweight. So he decided to take on the tournament at 135 in Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
Alexis walks around at 138. So, I mean, it was just a really bad decision at the time. But then again, Sufa didn't have the flyweight division open, and neither did Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no other bigger promotion out there promoting the flyweight division. So now he's back again. He's 10-2 now. His 2 losses have been at 135. So I still believe Alexis Villa is number 1 in my book as a flyweight. So George Sampo is the only top 10 flyweight that's top 10, in the ranking.
Mm-hmm. That's
not signed to a Sufa umbrella or a Bellator.
Right.
So, we found him, and we offered him the fight. And the fight is just it's an awesome fight, to be honest. I can't wait to see that fight. I mean, you have a guy that's right now ranked number 3 for flyweight. So Alexei winning the fight is definitely going to make him the number 1 flyweight in the world. So I want to see the reaction to Sufa. I want to see what Sufa's going to do to that. Or, either way, if Sampo wins the fight, he's going to be top. He has to be in the top 2 or top 1. He's never going to be top 1 because definitely the champion, the Sufa champion is going to be number 1. But he's going to be number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So these are 2 guys that definitely, whoever wins the fight, Sufa's going to come right after.
Mm-hmm. One thing about Villa, he's got one-punch knockout power and top-notch wrestling, and to have that kind of power at being, such a lightweight guy, a 125er, you don't see anybody in the world that has that kind of knockout power, especially whether it be flyweight or bantamweight. How impressed, the guy probably better than anybody, how impressed are you with this guy?
Mike, I met Alexis Villa 10 years ago, actually. 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. I went in to train with Alexis 6 years after, and I was at 185 pounds. Alexis was still 135, and I go in, and he's like, "Oh, let's do sparring, but let's go 80%." I'm like, "What are you crazy, man? I want to hurt you, brother." I almost had to dial 911, to be honest with you. After I said that, Alexis Villa's power is amazing. His wrestling is definitely elite wrestling, and he's got a lot of power. He doesn't stop. He's got, everybody's but he's getting old. He's 41 years old, but he does not stop. He trains harder than any other guy that are there at the gym. Any of those guys. He doesn't stop. He doesn't get tired. He's definitely training. He's training for a five-fight round. So it's definitely going to be a longer fight. He's doing it right. He's cutting. Well, he doesn't have to cut weight. That's the thing. He's walking around 130, 132. He was walking around yesterday. He was here in the office. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even have to cut weight. Very powerful flyweight, man. And you saw what he did to 135 to what's his name?
Joe Warren.
John Warren.
Yeah.
I mean, laid him flat. And Joe Warren is a big kid at 35.
Yeah. And Joe Warren is he's a top-notch wrestler, and he couldn't take Villa down at all. I mean that was the only chance that Warren had, because it was gonna stay on the feet. We know what happened. That was the only chance Warren had was to get it to the ground, and Vila with his great wrestling, he's top of the food chain regardless, 135, 125. So anyways, moving on the card, CFA 9. What are some other fights that are kind of right now flying under the radar that you think people should be talking about?
There's actually a couple, man. All the fights are good to be honest. There's a lot of bad blood in this card, but the Marcelo Alfaya Baldio Araujo fight that they're fighting for the welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
Man, those kids, they were roommates at one point. Just so you know, just to give you another insight on that fight, they were roommates at one point, and there was a huge fight between them two, which I don't want to disclose who lays who out, but somebody laid somebody out, and they're dying to get into that cage, man. And so they're fighting for so many things that night. The belt and so many other things, personal. That it makes it a very interesting fight. And given the fact that Baldio just beat what's his name? Last fight, last event. The gentleman, what's his name, man?
Oh, Paul Bradley.
Paul Bradley.
Yeah.
And given the fact that Paul Bradley was 20-4, puts him up there. It has to be on the rankings for sure. So that's going to turn out to be a great fight. It's a lot of bad blood on that fight as well. Then you also have Sean Soriano and Victor Delgado. This fight it's been planned so many times and it has never happened. For some reason, Sean Soriano has gotten hurt. Either Victor has gotten hurt. 3 or 4 times we have tried to put this fight together, not for a title fight. But it so happened that our featherweight got hurt, so we're doing an interim belt, and they're both now 6-0. So it just makes it a perfect fight for these kids. And they're hungry, man. They're hungry. They don't like each other. They really don't like each other at all. And they want that belt. They definitely want to support that belt, man.
Mm-hmm. And for this event, are tickets still available? And if so, where can fans go to get some?
Yeah, tickets still available. Actually, we sold out all reserve seats. So all general admission tickets are still available on Ticketmaster.
Mm-hmm. And
CFAfight.com.
Oh, and for the fans like me who don't live in Florida, where can we go to watch these fights? Because I know in the past you guys have done Facebook streams, you guys have done Sherdog streams. Where is this fight going to be available at?
Mike, we're actually on talks to Ustream to stream the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But after what I saw, I saw that happen with Victor, man, I was so disappointed that we have to go back this week to a drawing board and figure something out. Because there is a lot of fans aside from Florida that want to watch the fight, and they've been calling and they're like, man, do something. It's for the fans. You have to do something for the fans because there's a lot of fighters out there that want to see it. Now I saw the apologies on MMA Underground from the CEO of Ustream.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll go that route again. Maybe we'll just give them a call and try to figure that out because we need to get something for you guys out there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest problems we have is that we're in talks with a couple of networks right now, and they don't want to show our fights live. So it's like a catch-22 for us right now. So man, we have to. I don't want to tell you anything for sure. We gotta go. I gotta sit with my partner and make a decision this week for sure.
Mm-hmm. The reason why I brought up broadcast plans is because I'm sure you're well aware of that Showtime is ending their relationship with Strikeforce on January 12th with the last Strikeforce event. You guys are kind of in the same situation that Strikeforce was in probably 2006, 2007, where you guys are doing a great job locally and are bringing guys that, are veterans of the sport that, have fallen on hard times or are getting back up there and trying to make a run at a big show. Showtime, is that something that you are interested in, and have there been any talks with them?
Mike, to be honest with you, there's not any other organization that has our business plan for 2013. And I don't want to mention any other names, but none of the other small, at our level, the same level organizations out there have the business plan and strategy that we have for 2013. We've been flying on the radar on 2012 because we wanted it that way. We wanted to just, get a couple shows on their sleeves and not make a lot of noise. Now, 2013 is definitely a totally different year, And that's the way we have it stipulated on our business plan, and we're going to execute that. And I don't think Strikeforce or Showtime, Showtime, I should say, has any other option, man, to be honest with you. I think we are the right option for Showtime. And we bring a different flavor. We bring a totally different flavor to the whole MMA scene, to be honest with you. And that's how we feel, and we're gonna definitely go for it. And no, we're not in talks with Showtime right now. Definitely they still have that deal going on with Strikeforce, so, and we got a lot going on this week as well. But I see that happening. I definitely see that happen, and we should be on that spot, to be honest with you. And we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned when you were talking about Alexis Villa and that Josh Sampo fight that Zuffa should be interested in one of those guys, whoever wins that fight, bringing them along. Is that going to be the plan from here on out, is to build guys up and get them to the big show, or eventually do you plan on keeping these guys exclusive and, I don't want to say become a competitor of UFC, but kind of same frame where Strikeforce used to be, where they were a viable number 2? Do you see that happening?
Mike, we take definitely. Me and my partner are taking one day at a time.
Mm-hmm, sure.
We don't want to say we're going to become a competitor of the UFC. Obviously, the fact that we're building guys that are being considered by the UFC, and they're putting on a great show on UFC and making us look good. We like that as well. But then again, no one knows, man. We're taking one day at a time. The minute we get a network deal on the table, is a lot of things that will change. A lot of things will have to change, because it's all about the fighters. I mean, we have to develop our fighters. We have to, and we have to keep them. That's the value of our company. Our fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, we're taking one day at a time, not making any crazy decision, crazy moves. We have a business plan that we want to execute for 2013, and we're going to have a very successful 2013, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. You guys had a great 2012, the Florida MMA Awards. You guys won Promotion of the Year. How much did that award mean to you?
A lot. To me and my partner, because I'm here, I'm on the front line. I'm the guy that talks to all the fighters and put everything together, but then, I have my partner that believes in this, believes in this company from day one. And man, when we get rewarded for all the work we put in together, and for all the stuff that you guys don't get to see behind the scenes, it's very rewarding. Especially at 2012, we had to deal with a lot of stuff internally as a company on personal levels, and it's really rewarding when we got that reward, to be honest with you. And it's just added more gas to everything that we're doing on 2013, and Mike, we're gonna kick ass, bro. We're gonna kick ass on 2013. That's the bottom line. We're gonna go from being a Florida, because I can't even say the local promotion anymore, the Florida promotion, to be known as one of the top national promotion, and that's gonna happen in the next couple of months. We're gonna execute that, and it's gonna be a very successful year for us.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, for your organization, do you double as matchmaker, or do you have a separate person who works on that?
I overlook at the whole operation.
Mm-hmm. I see. And roughly how many people are on your staff?
Wow, nobody has ever asked me that question. We have a lot of people on staff, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
We have quite a few people on staff. We have a graphic artist. We have a department for the website. I've never sit down and count. We have our own production team. Remember I told you we bought our own production company that we all work together in the same office now. There's quite a few people working here.
Mm-hmm. I see. And you mentioned, being in Florida, you want to expand. Is there any possibility that it wouldn't be a U.S. expansion? Because I know that you have a great reach and following to Latin America. Is it possible that could be where you guys branch out to? Not so much branching out to a different part of the United States, going south? Is that possible?
Mike, I'm an American. So this is my country. I got here when I was 14, so I don't know much. I don't remember much about my country. So I'm a U.S. citizen,
Right.
And I love working here. Latin America, we love Latin America, and what I feel the problem is with Latin America is that it hasn't been given the opportunity to a lot of fighters out there to showcase their talent, or even even to train. To be honest with you, they don't have the high level of training we have on the States. So we do want to give them the opportunity, and definitely that's a niche that we're looking at. To be honest with you, because man, the best talent hasn't been found yet. There's a lot of talent out there, and this is such a young sport that we have to explore every option, and we have to give everybody an opportunity, and that's what we come in. I mean, we compare it to boxing. Mm-hmm. Boxing had a lot of American fighters, and but then the Latinos came in, and look what they did to the sport. It had to be an equal opportunity for everybody. We consider ourselves the Olympics of MMA. We're open to every country. We're open to work with everybody and give everybody a fair shot at being part of MMA and being successful as a fighter.
You guys are in a great spot, Florida. It's always been a hotbed for mixed martial arts. American top teams been around forever. And now with the Black Zillions, they've got a lot of great fighters there. And even a lesser-known gym like MMA Masters, they've got a lot of guys that you've used before. Just curious, when the UFC, when they came to Florida, people had mixed reaction. Some people thought it wasn't really that great. Just curious, what were your thoughts about the show that they did down in Florida?
When I heard the UFC was coming down to Florida, Mike, I was psyched, man. I was very excited. When I saw the fight card, I was very disappointed. Mm-hmm. And that was that. I mean, UFC came down to Florida because they had a deal with Harley Davidson, not because they were really bringing a car to pack the house. And it's very simple, man. I mean, not one Florida fighter on the card, not one. I mean, the right intentions weren't there, man. And if you want to see how Florida comes out, I'm not going to say support. If you want to see Florida come out and buy tickets and pack an arena, give me the elite, man. Here in Florida, we're not half-assed. Does not sell in Florida. That's the bottom line, especially Miami. Miami and Broward, half-assed doesn't sell. That's the bottom. Give me elite fighters. Give me a pay-per-view, and we'll pack the house. Mm. The intentions of packing the house were not there. That's the bottom. I mean, our main event were two guys at the flyweight division that had just gotten into the UFC 3 months ago. Yeah. No, man, the fight card did not make sense, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. And just curious, a lot of your events, I think all but two of the CFA events have been outside of the Bank United Center. Why have you guys decided to stick around that venue? Is it just a relationship you have with the venue, or is it just that's where you've done your best businesses there and you've decided to stick around there?
We have a great relationship with Bank United Center. Mm-hmm. Great relationship. We did a show at the Hard Rock, and we actually have a deal to go back to the Hard Rock after May. And like I said, we're flying under the radar. 2012. 2013, we have different plans. Different plans for 2013 for sure.
Mm-hmm. For 2013, roughly how many events do you see happening? Or you said you plan in advance, so how many events are going to be happening this year?
For 2013, we're planning on doing an event every 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at anywhere from 8 to 9 events a year this year. Mm-hmm. Then again, if we get Mike and network deal, a lot of that is going to change. We want to do more fights. The only way of getting more exposure, getting more fighters, build more fighters, make these guys superstars, and allow them to showcase their talent is by putting on fights. You can't sign the fighters to multi-fight deals if you can't guarantee them fights. They want to fight. So I mean, we got a network deal. A lot of things are going to change. And there's a lot of stuff on the works right now. There's been a couple of offers already on the table that we didn't like. We're not in a rush, Thank God we're very, good economically. We're good. We don't have to rush into any deals. But definitely, man, we want to do more fights. Minimum 8 to 9 fights this year. If we get a network deal, it's definitely going to at least be four more events. So we're looking at an event every month.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any plans of getting back, some of the heavier weight classes? You had Sean McCorkle, he fought in one of your events. Do you guys have plans on, getting some heavyweights, getting some light heavyweights, getting some of the bigger guys back in CFA?
Right now, with what we're doing in January, man, you're very smart. What we're doing in January, we're going to have a champion up to welterweight. Mm-hmm. In March 2nd, we're going to go from welterweight and up.
Oh.
So yeah, we're definitely looking at the bigger weight class as well.
I see. And do you have plans for tournaments, or are these just going to be, one fights, or, a single bout fights, and then eventually do the matchmaking thing where, okay, this guy beat this guy, and then just go from there? What are some of the plans, if you can say?
We're gonna do a tournament with the girls starting in March 2nd, just because of the fact that I want to have a champion as soon as possible, especially, and I want to give all those girls an opportunity to showcase their talent and to become a champion, man. And they're beautiful girls. They're tough. They can fight. These girls are really. We handpicked these girls. These girls are ready to go. They're ready to bang. They're going to put on a great show. And I want to have a champion right away. And these are girls that don't have a lot of fights. Some of them have 1 or 2 fights, a pro, 3 fights, 4 fights. They don't have a lot of fights, so we want to build a champion. They're gonna have to have 3 more fights before they become our champion. So it will make sense to have a champion and say 7-0, something like that, being a champion at that weight class makes perfect sense for us, and they're signing to us. So the only tournament I see ourselves doing is definitely the girls' tournament. Maybe I'll start another tournament at a different weight class. If we can find a better talent out there that's not signed to SUFA, obviously, or Predator, that we can sign that has a credible record, then we'll build them ourselves.
I got to take my hat off to you guys for doing a 145-pound women's tournament, because right now a lot of people say, well, there is no depth at 145. There's only about 3 or 4 fighters. So I give you credit that you guys are going out and doing a 145-pound tournament. Was that what you guys had seen, that people were talking about? There's not that many fighters out there, and in this tournament, that's why you guys decided to put this together, to find that new talent?
Yes, definitely. I've seen some of these girls train, and man, let me tell you, they're kicking the guy's ass, man. They're kicking some of the guy's ass. It's incredible. They're so talented and they're so powerful, and nobody will even look at these girls before. So yeah, man, we want to come in and give them the opportunity. Why not?
How long had this been in the works of you guys thinking about doing women's fights? Because March 2nd, that's going to be the first time CFA has done a women's fight.
Actually, me and my partners have always been big fans of the girls' fight. We watch a girls' fight, and they go in there, and it reminds me UFC 1 all the way through UFC, I would say 50, where the guys would just go in there, and they had a point to prove. They weren't going in there because they had a lot of sponsors, or they were making a lot of money, or they had to pay their Ferrari. No, they were going in there because they had a point to prove, and that's what the girls are going through right now. The girls want to prove a point. The point is that they can fight. The girls can fight, and they can fight. They're very tough fighters, and they've been training their whole life. These are girls that have kickboxing careers, and they went karate their whole life, and some of them were even wrestlers, jiu-jitsu background. Why not? And we do love the sport. We love the girls fight. We love them, and it was accepted thanks to Invicta. To be honest with you, we got to give them credit there. But we love the girls fight, and now we're going to give them the opportunity and try to take that division to a different level.
George, I only have a couple more questions. I thank you for being so generous with your time, but you did an undefeated tournament, I believe, in the lightweight and featherweight division. What was the decision behind that? Was it just you had assembled a tournament of up-and-coming guys, they just happened to be all undefeated, and you just decided to finish out the tournament? You got a couple guys in there who were undefeated, and you decided, hey, we're going to do all undefeated? Or was that the original plan, was, hey, we're going to do what has never been done before? We're going to find all these undefeated guys and put them in a tournament. What was the thought process behind putting those tournaments together?
Mike, the main idea was always undefeated guys. And the reason behind doing the tournament was because at that point a lot of people didn't believe in CFA. We had what, 3 or 4 fights on our belt, and there's a lot of companies that are what we call fly-by companies. Right. And the guys didn't want to sign with us. The fighters did not want to sign a multi-fight deal with CFA. So we said, you know what? Let's find 8 undefeated guys, and let's put $20,000 on the line. So all of a sudden, we were signing guys. So that's what gave the opportunity to, that was the whole, thought process behind the whole thing. You know, we need to sign these guys. We need to get them on an exclusive deal, so when they become our champions, we own them. And it worked out great. And we did it with the featherweight. We had what's his name? That was the champion, Jordan Parsons. Great man, great kid. I mean, I've never seen anybody wrestle like that kid before. That kid's wrestling is insane. His ground and pound is out of this world. So it gave us a great champion, and then we did it at 155, which we had Ruslan Izquierdo was our champion, and they got called by the UFC the next week. So he gave UFC, he gave CSA on our figures.
Mm-hmm. And you guys have done a great job of not forgetting about the guys who were in the big show and have fallen on hard times, like guys like John Howard or Sean McCorkle, like I mentioned earlier, guys like that. Is that something that we can continue to see? Because I know a lot of promoters out there, they try to shy away from the guys who have been to the UFC or another big show and washed out. Is that something we can continue to expect from CFA?
Yes, man, we love those guys. And when those guys come into CFA and you work with professionals, they know what to expect, and they get a lot of media attention. They tweet and they have a lot of followers. We love working for those guys. So the fact that they work with the UFC, I think it makes it a more appealing fighter to us. I don't understand why other people would just turn their back on them, to be honest with you. And they're great people. I mean, McCorkle, man, that guy's funny as hell.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I took him to a club, and we had a blast. And the guy calls me a week later, George, I'm still here. What do you mean still here? Yeah, I'm still in Florida. I'm still here in Miami. You want to come to this other club? I'm like, what are you doing here in Miami, dude? So, I mean, it's like, I love it here. The chicks here are beautiful. What do you want me to do, man? This is awesome. So, I mean, it's just good people, man. Good people. John Howard, same thing. Man, we've been very lucky to counsel with some of these fighters.
Mm-hmm. And George, last thing before I let you go, if someone has never seen CFA before, why should someone come and see what CFA has to offer? An MMA fan out there who maybe hasn't seen your brand before, why should they come out?
You go to CFA and you will get hooked on CFA. We definitely bring a different flavor. Man, you can expect so many things that night, and I just can't describe it. I've been to all the shows, and everything is it's TV oriented, and things have to happen when they need to happen, and it's just, our show is just totally different. We give them a different flavor. We get the fighters, the big name fighters, to go out there and sign autographs and interact with the fans, and the girls the same thing. We get all of our ring girls. I mean, I think we're the only organization that has 6 ring girls. I think we're the only organization that has done a calendar shoot for 2013, which we're going to be giving out this on the next event for girls. And they're beautiful girls, very classic girls. And it's just fun. It's fun all around. I mean, it's actually another thing that we have that is totally different. You got to dress up to come to a CFA event. Mm-hmm. We don't like guys. We don't allow guys into the arena wearing sandals, tank tops, and stuff like that. You gotta dress up. You gotta dress up nice to go to the CFA. In the beginning, we lost a couple cells because we will turn you back. This is not a fighter in a backyard fight. Mm-hmm. Where you go dress however you want. No, you go to CFA and you go dress to impress. We have a lot of girls, beautiful girls, and girls that are doing a lot of CrossFit and the whole nine. Now you want to go in there and impress. So it's a fighting event, it's a social event that you want to be part of, and we take pride on that. We take a lot of pride in that. Right now, I used to go to some of the boxing events in New York, and brother, you have to dress up, man. You have to dress up to go to those events, and that's our goal. I mean, if you look at our show, it's totally different from any other show. We have our next show. We have 40 VIP tables on the floor. We don't have regular seating on the floor. Now the floor is just VIPs only. So we have really a lot of high rollers on the floor. You want to take part in what's happening on the floor, meeting the right people, and meeting the superstars, and meeting so-and-so, whoever is there that night. You got to pay for a VIP. And if you pay VIP, you better dress to impress. You know, and it's definitely a different flavor. We have bring a different flavor to MMA. Very upscale and very Miami and a different flavor to Dallas. That makes us very different from any other organization.
George, you guys are doing a great job. I can't wait to see what 2013 has to offer for you guys. Real quick before I let you go, do you have a Facebook, website, Twitter that you want to throw out there where fans can go to catch up with everything you've got going on and everything the CFA has got going on?
Yeah, we have. You can check us on Facebook at Championship Fighting Alliance. You can check us on Twitter at CFA Fights. You can check us on the website, CFAFights.com. I'm not a big media person, but I think that's it. To be honest with you.
George, thank you for taking the time to talk. I really appreciate it. Good luck. January 19th, CFA 9 from the Bank United Center.
Mike, I really thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for this interview. It's a very knowledgeable interview, man. Most of the people that call you the office, most time I tell them, man, you know, I just don't want to do the interview because they ask you so many nonsense. It seems like you did your homework. It seems like you guys definitely did your homework. You know what you're talking about. You know your MMA. And, man, I want to applaud you for that, man. And thank you very much for allowing CFA to get this exposure. Thank you.
Thank you, George. That really means a lot to me. And, best of luck in 2013.
Thank you, buddy. Same to you guys.